So now that the engine has been removed and is on the stand, I guess this will be the start of the teardown of the engine. What I'm going to do first is take off accessories that don't need to be here, clear up space on the back, because we're going to clean up the block before opening it. I feel like that's the smart thing to do. So we're going to take the T-bracket off, we're going to take off the PCV breather box, alternator, things like that are just getting in the way. Clean it up. We'll get it all in there, and yeah, so we'll start cleaning this up and then move on from there. As well as cleaning this, we're going to be doing the inside of the engine bay of the Civic. All right, so we've got our alternator here off. We've removed the PCV box and the hoses that run through it up to here. And we're not going to be using this anymore. We're going to be putting a proper catch can, which we'll use this port and that port, and we'll block that off. And then I'm going to use this vacuum port for my boost gauge, more than likely. Yeah, so now that those are out of the way, I'm going to spray most of these really gunky areas with oven cleaner from like the cheapest shit you can get. Go to the dollar store. I think I got this at Canadian Tire because I was just there at the time. But you want to get just whatever, easy off, heavy duty oven cleaner. And I used 1 can of these to clean my entire engine bay and the front of this engine last summer. And I still have a shit ton of it left. And I don't know, so it's cheap, you get lots of it, it lasts. Just spray the absolute poop out of your block and let it sit for a few minutes and brush it down, and I'll show you that all of this shit literally just comes off with a brush. It's amazing. The only reason why you would not use this to clean is like obviously over painted areas that you care about. Don't get this on clear coat, anything like that. It's just going to be the raw aluminum metal underneath, so I'm doing this first and then afterwards we'll paint it. But if you're just trying to clean gunk and all that stuff off, oven cleaner, it works miracles. Okay, so now that we've let it sit for a good minute, and make sure you got the mask on, you can just see it's all bubbled up, sizzling, pretty much. And it's still kind of sizzling, but once it kind of calms down, starts doing this, you can get in there, just brush that garbage away. Quite a thick layer on there, but just brush. And then once you've kind of got it off the surface, you can just get in there, scrub it down. But look at that, one pass. And that wasn't even very hard scrubbing. So I just wanted to show you how it immediately takes all that crap off. Look at that. Get in there, scrub a dub. Take your clean cloth, and you suddenly have a factory color block again. And then if you want to go crazy, you could take steel wool to this and get rid of the oxidization, but we just want a good surface to add some paint. Because paint is easier than sitting your hand cleaning and sanding this for literal days. But as you can see, wow, yeah, just checked out the camera. That is night and day difference right there. So I'm going to do the same all along this and show you after. Cool, so after quite a while of scrubbing, I'm going to show you a little update here. Mainly how fresh this is looking in here. These pockets are obviously the hardest to get to, so they still have some gunk in there. But if you look before and after, this is so much better. Took off the bracket for the alternator to clean behind that. And look at this area here, was all black, and now it's starting to become nice and fresh. This wire was all covered in gunk, and that's how it's looking, all the dirt down there. So probably gonna give it another spray with the oven cleaner, wipe it down, and then once it's, I don't know why I'm doing this. Once it's good, we'll get some paint going, slap it on there, and then eventually we're gonna take this off and all of these, and we'll have to clean behind that as well. And before we put the transmission back, we're gonna clean all up in there and change the seal. But you know, it's just boring stuff like that for outside of the engine. So that'll probably be it for cleaning the engine. I'll show you cleaning in the engine bay soon, and then I'll have my own separate video for actually pulling apart the engine and looking inside of it. So yeah, right now we're just doing the cleaning. Woo, so fun. I don't know, so I'll try and just make maybe a little compilation of cleaning stuff, because unless you really want to see it, I don't know. But this is looking great, nice and clean. We'll have it super fresh, in the subframe in the engine bay, all that stuff. All right, so we got another coat of engine cleaner on there, and I decided to go ahead and spray the transmission. So all in here, this will be a really good before and after. It is literally black right now, and we're gonna get it to be that color, hopefully, the original color, and all the backside here, because I painted this, I didn't paint this. So after, before, before, after. It's the hope anyway. All right, here we go. Okay, just gonna show you real quickly here. I sprayed down the transmission, and I've scraped it up, spent probably an hour on this. Still not perfect, but you know, if I really wanted to, I could get in there and get every single last bit of dirt. But this is a huge improvement from what it was before. It's actually silver instead of black, but this is inside the transmission. You won't see it anyway, so this should be good enough for what it is. And then we're gonna wind up cleaning the outside of the transmission, painting all that as well, but just wanted to show you how that looks after that. So yeah, oven cleaner works great. That's probably going to be it for the cleaning videos of these. Might give you an update after I paint them, but I don't know, it's getting late today and I'm going to cut it off there. So just did this little cleaning, and yeah, next I'm either going to be taking the engine apart or cleaning the engine bay on the Civic. All right, it's painting time. Got our brush here. We got our can of rust paint, aluminum. This is what I used for the entire engine bay as well as the front of this engine. And I don't know, I guess everybody would normally use high temp paint, but I haven't had any issues so far. And if it comes off, you just brush it back on. Super easy. Okay, so we're gonna do the back of this here, show you some of these parts, and then move on. Oh yeah. It's always satisfying. So as you can see, it doesn't take much, but you can still go pretty heavy if you want. Let me bring this over here, show you. Boop. Oh yeah, just one coat. She's gonna be super clean and glossy. All right, so we're just gonna do that for the entire thing here, and then I'll show you what it's like after. Sweet, so that's the back of the block after one light coat. Obviously, I think that looks pretty good on video. There's some things, like the oil pump's gonna be replaced, so it doesn't matter that there's paint on that. Oil filter's gonna be replaced, little things that we got overspray on, but that's fine. You're gonna get probably a smaller brush to get in these little areas here that didn't get paint on them. But otherwise, that's looking mighty fresh. Do it with a paintbrush. Takes you only a few minutes. You don't have to worry about overspraying everything. I really like this method. If you're able to get in there with a paintbrush, use a paintbrush. And usually you can get a thicker coat that way too, and it'll last longer than spray painting. Unless you're going for a brand new showroom paint job with like a high gloss finish, using a paintbrush totally works, totally perfect. Moving on to the transmission, got it set up here. Took off the accessories, things we're not gonna paint or they're just in the way. And we've got our oven cleaner sprayed on here. Also got just normal soap for the lighter bits, and we're gonna clean it up with our brushes. And then from there we can put a fresh coat of paint on it, and then the transmission will be done, good to go. Won't have to touch this again until we put it back on the engine and install the new clutch and everything like that. All right, cool. Okay, so now that our transmission has been fully painted, letting that dry, we've painted the back of the block. Now I just gotta wait on, I need to get a tool to grab the bolt off for the crank pulley. Then I'm gonna get a couple other things so I can make sure I organize all the parts in there. So I think today I'm gonna start on cleaning the engine bay, focusing on the subframe here, cleaning that off, painting it, might do a little time lapse of that. But yeah, so this is all stuff we can do while we're waiting on the engine. We still need to buy lots of parts for that. So this is gonna take some time, whereas this I can just get it done with what I have here whenever I have the time. So what I'm doing here is I'm gonna grab one of these scuffing pads, and I also have somewhere, there it is, my soap. So I'm gonna spray down the heavily soiled areas, and then you can just come in here with this and scuff over everything, as long as it's not like, see these flaky rust bits, all that, you can use this on it. Down here there's a little bit of gunkiness on that. I might try and wipe off before I use this, or else it just gets kind of clogged on it. But yeah, get rid of the heavy grease and then just scuff everything down with this, and it'll prepare it so you can just go right over it with the paint. And since we're using rust paint, it's meant to be just thrown over the metal without any primer needed, so super easy. I'm gonna scuff this down, paint it over. It's gonna look real fresh. All right, so I've gone in now, scuffed up all of the subframe, some of the areas around it, but for now I'm just gonna be doing the black painting parts. Got my aluminum rust paint here and a brush, and I'm gonna go over and paint the frame and the arms there as much as I can. And that'll be it for this one, I think. So I'm gonna get some smaller paint brushes just to do the sides and all the little areas there. And we will also jack up the car and get underneath the subframe and every area under there that had some surface rust on it. All right, subframe's been painted, jacked it up, painted underneath. Let me see if I can show you some of that. There, it's all painted. And one coat should be enough. This stuff goes on pretty thick. So that's looking good in here. It's mainly just a visual thing. There's no real rot on the subframe. But after that all dries, and we can do these areas up here with the silver. And then that'll be pretty much it for the engine bay, since I already super cleaned it last year. And then we can get going on pulling the engine apart and opening that up.
When you ask me to bring that guacamole to the party, I'll say no, no. If you ask me bring the guacamole to the party, I'll say no, no, no. That shit's too expensive.